So, just to reiterate, saving throws have both a DC, how difficult they are to resist, and what type they are. So, what they need to roll to resist that kind of effect, because usually most characters can't just tough their way out of fireball, they need to dodge them, so that's a dexterity save. But the words you choose to say matter a whole lot. So, going back to the example with Leon and that guard, if the interaction continues and Leon says to him, I'm here to attend the party, looking at that from the guard's perspective, he doesn't know what that kind of means. But if Leon comes out and says, I'm here to I'm here to party, that implies something different. Attending a party just means, oh, I'm here, I'm strolling through, maybe a little more fancy party. And I'm here to party is like, yeah, I'm here to get drunk on ale and woo! So the words you choose matter. Conversely, the words I choose to say also matter for the NPCs. So if the guard says, alrighty, head on in, or or alrighty, head on in. That slight tonal shift matters as well, as that could imply the intent of this guard for letting you in, whether it be boss intimidation or he has a plan of some kind. So just listening for that can also be really useful in gleaning information for that, and is really fun to just think, because it'll make you think and think and think and think. And be creative with your words. When you just say I attack, it gets the information across. We know you're swinging your sword and you're going to attempt to hit. But saying I duck under the swing and stab up into his kneecap, that's detail. It adds to the environment. It gives the scene a flavor. It makes you picture an action movie in your head of just dodging, swinging, instead of just I attack, okay, I attack, okay. Details are great. Also, when you do say like an intimidation check, maybe add a little character to what you do. So instead of just saying I intimidate him, I buff up my chest and flex, or I look at my dagger and twirl it in my hands while looking at him. The more creative you are, and the more like I see that you're trying, I might give you like little advantages, like, hey, why don't you roll that 20-sided die twice and take the higher result? Being creative like that not only helps everyone visualize it, it can actually give you certain advantages instead of just saying, all right, I intimidate him. So, how to play it is you play as a character, because every character in fiction has certain things in their mind. So, when you walk to the table of D&D and you have your character sheet there, it's got all the numbers, but what makes it a character is what you put in its head. So how do they think? How do they hold themselves? Are they a Captain America type character who holds himself in high regard and wants to defend everything he holds dear? Or is it more like a Star Lord who's just trying to get by in every day, defending the people he cares about and giving the middle finger to everyone else? Or is it Thanos, who's incredibly driven in his goals and ruthless in his execution? And no matter what, he is convinced in his ways. Or is it more like an Iron Man, where it's a greedy billionaire who's starting to see the error of his ways and wants to change? Well, these are extremer examples. That's what makes a character, as opposed to just a stat block, which would be what it is without those little details. So yeah, you might have like that long sword and shield, but what makes you swing that sword? What makes you get up in the morning to make sure your friends are okay? What drives your character? An optional way of thinking about this, and this is just kind of good for visualizing in your head and also drawing parallels, is the alignment system. So it is drawn on two axes. It is on the lawful good or lawful axis and the good axis. So you have the lawful, neutral, and lawful, neutral, and chaotic. Sorry, and then we have good, neutral, and evil. So, for example, we have Hermione, who follows all the rules to a fault and is a great person and wants to do what's right. She would be lawful good. Now, Lucius Malfoy, he follows a lot of the rules and holds himself in high regard and has like certain limits or a code to himself, but that code sometimes brings harm to people, and he seems to want to bring harm to people a lot. He would be considered lawful evil. Now, Hedwig, Hedwig really doesn't kind of swing each way. Hedwig just likes Harry. So Hedwig is just a neutral character. It's just a true neutral. Then you have someone like Bellatrix Lestrange, who gleefully kills for killing and doesn't seem to have anything but that. That's chaotic and that is evil. Harry seems to just want to do good without really regards for any of the rules of that, like any laws or school rules. So he would be chaotic good. It's a way to frame your character into one of 9 categories as just kind of helping it. Although this is nothing that affects the mechanics, it just helps you think of a character. So the interactions, if you want to talk to a party member, go ahead. I want you guys to interact with each other as characters. It's a beautiful thing when two separate characters can just go off into a bar and get into an intense discussion about something that they conflict with, or just having fun in a bar as you guys play darts. Those interactions make D&D special. But if it's something where it would interrupt like the main story, I don't need to hear it unless it affects the other characters in the world and you want them to know. So say Mario's got a hammer in his hand and he hands it off to you, and then later on you use that hammer. Well, I might need to know that you have that hammer so you can say it and just, all right, you have the hammer. So the biggest rules of D&D is the DM, me, I can break these rules or make up rules if I feel there's some sort of benefit to it. So, for example, say there's a Loch Ness monster and Maestra jumps down from a tree and grabs onto its neck. Well, I don't know any of the kind of rules for grappling something like that, especially grappling a serpent creature, but you know what? I'll make up a few rules for it, and you know what? It's kind of cool. And while maybe it would get an attempt every turn to throw her off, yeah, no, I think it's cool that just thrashing around and just helpless doing that. Maestra's pretty strong, yeah. You can keep your grip. And once I make a ruling, like for example, uh, Leon would ask a question of, do I do extra damage if I stab him in the back? And I say no. That's a hard no. It's not no, but you can negotiate it further because that bogs down the game for everyone else. While you might get that slight edge by stabbing him back, if you argue it hard enough, I don't want to slow down the game. And one of the biggest rules is just have fun with it. This is supposed to be a fun game, and it is just a game. So take a chance and have some fun with it.